Who else am I thinking of here? I'm going to have to pull my list back up because I don't want to forget anybody. Wind Racing, Franklin Performance, File Gaskets, of course, No Prep Racing, Redline Powertrain. And Jim Horton, of course, who stepped in last minute, and Tom Hibshin, who stepped in for Old School. Those are just privateer guys that want to donate money to the purses. And unfortunately, the list of sponsors is shorter than I would like it, but that's just a sign of the times. I know that Rick Dynick with No Prep Racing, he vended. He brought his trailer and he set up a pop-up, and he was selling merchandise and whatnot, and it got really cold. And I told him to bring a lot of hoodies. I wasn't able to get any printed in time. And he's like, well, I got like 1,000 hoodies. I'm like, yeah, bring them all. He's like, I'm not going to bring 1,000. I'm like, no, bring them all. It's going to be cold. I don't know how many he brought, but I know he didn't pack up a single one. So that worked out well. The Grove sold out of every hoodie they had. Whatever hoodies I had left over from last year, we sold out of virtually all of them except for, I think, 2 totes that didn't get pulled out of the trailer on accident. So I have some hoodies left over that I didn't know about. And, it was just an overall great show. I got to throw a thank out to David and David, Dave and Dave Frank, which is Nick Frank's dad and his brother. They came out and ran the merchandising for me. They used to run a merchandise trailer, merchandise down by Wrigley Field, so they used to, real crowds. Like what we had was big, but to them it was just kind of remedial. But they enjoyed it. They were having a good time, very personable and organized. So they helped out. My wife wasn't able to attend this one, unfortunately, so they stepped in and knocked it out of the ballpark for me. So that was awesome. And coming back in September, I should say, we're going to have our ladies only class coming back. That's with Card Chicks, and Jeanette Desjardins, who owns Card Chicks, is a longtime friend of mine. And she, unfortunately, we didn't think we were going to have the Anarchy race because of the virus. So she opted to book a lot of dates down south where things weren't quite as hectic. So she just finished up her, what I call her Southern tour. She was in a lot of places in Texas with their Card Chicks doing merchandising and marketing and all that stuff. So we'll see her back in September. And yeah, I think September is just going to be awesome. Honestly, I think it's going to be awesome, barring any catastrophes or more 2020 ridiculousness. We've had Corona, we've had murder hornets, and we lost some celebrities and whatnot. And I think a meteor or alien invasion is pretty much next on the list of what the hell can happen now. And hopefully none of that happens, and we'll be good, and we'll have a good race, and we'll be able to talk more about this in September, and then plan for 2021. But honestly, I had, and this is no joke, Dave, I had written off this entire year because with all of the Corona stuff, I expected no turnout. And in September, we were lined up on our date. No Prep Kings announced they were going to film in Joliet on the same day we were having our race up in Wisconsin. Now, I don't know that that's going to happen because I know Route 66 has, I believe, canceled all of their drag races for the year. However, technically, No Prep Kings isn't a drag race. It's operated under a filming permit. So I don't know how it's going to affect them, but we're going to go into it with the same enthusiasm and energy that we did with the rest of the races, and hope for the best. We had a great event in June, and hopefully September will be the same.
Well, I have to say that what you selling out all the merchandise, that's just a testimony to how much these people love the No Prep racing.
It's true. It's true. It also got cold. That helps.
Yeah, that too.
It's uncharacteristically cold for June, so that definitely helped. But yeah, there's a lot of new No Prep merchandise on the streets after the Anarchy event because nobody really packed up anything. So that's I've already talked to my merchandise vendor about what we're going to do for September and make sure we got enough inventory and all that. So yeah, it's like I said, it really couldn't have gone much better. A couple oil downs, some minor fender benders, that sort of thing, but everything went pretty well.
So now in September, what are you going to be bringing? Hoodies and T-shirts?
Yeah, I got a lot of requests for beanies, so we're going to do some beanies. We generally have T-shirts, hats, hoodies. Like I said, I tried to get some hoodies made for this one, but I just couldn't get them done at short notice. They just couldn't squeeze them in. We did, 12 dozen T-shirts of 2 different designs, which, it's 144 roughly, give or take. So it's, when you're expecting, crowd of, a couple thousand people or whatnot, they go pretty fast, but I didn't want to over-order. So that stuff went pretty quick. But we'll do T-shirts. I think I still got some long-sleeve tees. We'll do hoodies. Probably do another run of hats because we sold a lot of them. And like I said, beanies, the leggings have been super popular with the ladies. And we did some yoga as well with the flared leg, and those are pretty popular. We did a handful of pairs each, that sort of thing. I'm not sure what else. I got a lot of requests for like sunglasses, which is kind of weird. People wanted Anarchy sunglasses. I was like, okay, I guess we'll make Anarchy sunglasses, And I got to sit down and talk to my merch guys, the Dave and Dave show, as I call them, because they got some ideas based on the requests they were getting. So, if people want something with an Anarchy logo on it, I mean, who am I to deny them? Let's be honest. It's, got to play the game.
Now, do you have stickers?
Absolutely, we do have stickers. Although, in a cruel twist of irony, the new stickers for this event, which were I did a new design I was playing with. It's basically looks like a thread, a flag made out of thread, which is pretty neat. And we did that on a T-shirt, and as well as a military green T-shirt, which was really nice. And then we did, the Corona key, which was something I was just kind of throwing around as a joke, but I was bored and I was playing a computer, so I made a Corona key logo. We did some stickers and some T-shirts and whatnot. And unfortunately, the stickers of both of those never got put out. They were sitting in an envelope, and everything was kind of hectic, and the guys didn't know I had them. And so I have the Corona key stickers and the Anarchy flag, the new flag design sticker. And I also have Anarchy face masks that I made up a couple dozen of just because it's Corona season, and why not? And unfortunately, none of that stuff got put out. We'll have to sell it and ship it or hold on to it for the next event, one way or the other. But so far, the masks, I've already sold a few of those. People like those. And they're not even Chinese. They're made in England, if you can believe that.
Now, at the Anarchy events, is a rebel flag welcome?
The Confederate flag?
Yeah.
That's kind of a loaded question, and I'm going to tell you why. My brother and I were talking about this. My brother lives down here where I'm at now. It's a very interesting question, very pointed, but very interesting, because we both went to college in Alabama. Well, obviously the Confederate flag is a really big deal. This was back in the 90s. Now, it never really bothered me personally. It was always, to me, just an indicator of, as a redneck. Like, that's the way I looked at it from a guy from Chicago. Like, that guy's got to be a redneck. He's got a rebel flag, All aside from it being on top of the General Lee, I didn't really see a point of it being there. But I do think that, my charger just fell out here. I do think that that it's one of those things where, we're in a changing time, and we're in a very tumultuous time right now. And I would say that I don't really know that I want to go to say that I would prevent it from being there, but at the same time, I don't know that it would be appropriate. Like, I don't really see the purpose of it. And I understand, I know a lot of people in the South that are very proud people, and there's a lot of pride in that flag from the Confederacy, and I get all that. But as a lifelong Northerner, my joke with my Southern buddies all the time was, you guys lost, get over it. I mean, we all have a good laugh over it, and South will rise again and all that, but living in the times we're at now, unfortunately, that flag is taking on a little bit of a different meaning that I think it means to a lot of people. And now it's being construed into a symbol that's, I won't say it's a symbol of hate, because I think that might be a little too strong. But I think a lot of people are looking at it as a symbol that they don't wish to see, if that makes any sense. And I don't want to bring any of that into my race. Like, I don't want to talk politics in my race. I don't want to talk about, pointed current events of the race. This is where, especially, unfortunately, we see so much stuff going on the subject of race right now. And, you don't see that at a racetrack. Like, you see people of all different walks of life, creed, color, nationality, you name it. They go to the racetrack and they put all that shit aside. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be every day of your life. Because the bottom line is, anybody who's old enough to remember this, is we're all Americans. And anybody who's old enough to remember 9/11, there was a period of time where people put all that shit aside for about, 2 months maybe? And everybody just, all the petty differences, all of that shit just got brushed right to the side because, we had witnessed literally the worst thing we'd ever seen on our own soil. And, nobody had time for their own petty, grievances and bullshit and just all the stuff that you seem to gripe about and you read about in the news. So I like to think that we're better than that as a people when we want to be. And, I would never touch on politics in any of my speeches at a race, and I would ask anyone who brings their politics in. I support all the people's rights. I support the right to free speech. I support their right to, freedom of protest and assembly and all those things. But I think that you have to have a time and place to make that effective. And I think bringing your beliefs like that or your quarrels or whatever into a racetrack, I just think it's not the right place to do it. So, I don't know how I would straight prevent it. I would ask people to maybe leave that stuff at home and let's not, bring anything tense like that into an environment that we're meant to have fun with. What you do in your own house is your business.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of race car drivers in the pit areas. They have the big Trump 2020 banners in their pits.
Well, and that's true because you get a lot of blue collar support for him, and again, it's a very pointed subject, one that I won't shy away from it in general, but I think that especially like politics, religion, any of that stuff, you bring it into a discussion and you're automatically going to start creating a divide. And I really don't want to do that if we don't have to. There's so much arguing and bickering in the world about everything. We got all the time and all the opportunities to be divided and arguing with each other. I like to see people at a racetrack just put all that shit aside. Come out and enjoy the race, and I think it's good for people's morale to realize you can be with someone who's politically the direct opposite of you and still have a good time.
Yep.
I mean, you could argue that, people on the extreme left might not like drag racing, but I would argue that that's not true because I know plenty of people that are extreme left and they love drag racing, that sort of thing. So, and I know there's a lot of drama with NASCAR and all that. And I think that's a whole other ball of wax I don't even want to touch.
Yeah. Have we covered everything?
I don't know. You're the one asking the questions.
Like I told you, I'm pretty much out of questions. If you want to cover anything else with the anarchy, go ahead.
Well, let's see here. The most important thing I want to cover with the anarchy is that you should be there. And it's at Great Lakes Dragway, September 12th. Admission cost is $25. Basic parking is free. If you want to park in the pits, it's $20. That's the track policy. You have to park in the grass. But if you really got to be there, obviously special access, for disabled one, that's a different story. Media passes, you can message the Anarchy page if you're interested in that. What else here? VIP access to be on the starting line along the right side wall. If you're 18 or over, it's $40. Camping, if you're a spectator, is $40. Covers one vehicle and 4 people. If you race, you don't have to pay to camp. And all that stuff is covered on our website, which is anarchynoprep.com. There's class rules, there's general rules, there's an FAQ page for all commonly asked questions, which I've assembled that stuff over many years of the same question I get over and over. I get a lot of messages, 2 weeks for the race, what's it cost to get in? And I've gotten to the point where sometimes I just have to send them a link. Please go check the FAQ page. All the answers are there, but I also want to give people the answers they want right away, so I'll tell them, $25. But I think that's about it. We're going to start doing we only had 1 month to prepare this race. I had done literally nothing prior to that month. We're going to have, a lot more time to promote and to get the word out to people. And I think the people will come back because I didn't get a lot of negative feedback. There wasn't a lot of complaining about things we did wrong. And the people are very good at letting you know when you do something wrong. So for that, I'm very fortunate. I hope that we have a repeat performance in September. That way we can all talk about it over the winter.
Awesome. Well, Trent, I want to thank you very much for being on the air tonight.
No problem. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate you having me on.
No problem. We'll do more in the future.
Sounds good. If anybody has any, needs any information, they can just follow us on social media. Facebook.com/AnarchyNoPrep, AnarchyNoPrep on Instagram. We've got a Twitter that we don't really use. We've got a TikTok that I haven't started using yet. So there's a Snapchat, and I've got all the social media covered. I just can't do it all myself. So right now, Facebook is really the place to go if you want anything, want any information on Anarchy. But I try to put it up on Instagram as well, so that people that are not on Facebook can follow it there. So far, so good. And this whole year, it's pretty much sucked ass. I think that's saying a lot. I'm very fortunate that the people came out, the racers came out, you know, the staff helped out, everybody just kind of came together and forgot about forgot about the coronavirus for about 24 hours. It was awesome.
And if anyone wants to be a sponsor, he's always looking for new sponsors.
Always looking for sponsors, absolutely. I do, you know, naturally give first dibs to returning sponsors. You know, I think the gangster sponsorship is probably going to be locked up again. Justin Cernick at Chicago Lift said, and I quote, "I will sponsor that class until I am dead." I said, "Okay, thank you." But you know, obviously, there's always a place for everybody, and you know, the more we can bring in, the more love we can give the racers. That's the whole point.
Yep. All right, Trent. Well, thanks again for being on air tonight.
No problem. I appreciate it, Dave, and we'll do it again sometime. Okay.
All right. You have a great night, buddy.
Thanks, bud. You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.